Ecco, è andata, è andata. Allora, ci sono, sì. Prova a entrare in 622.
Capito,
Sì, sì. Così ti metto host. Chiudo il muto. Patrizia, mi senti? Patrizia? Ok. Patrizia, sono Lisa, sta arrivando Antonella. Ora iniziamo.
Buongiorno, scusate del ritardo, posso incominciare a tradurre adesso e posso riassumere più o meno quello che Mr. Keshe ha detto fino adesso. Lui ha detto che che praticamente siamo arrivati a un punto in cui dobbiamo espandere la tecnologia in maniera molto veloce e adesso è il momento in cui dobbiamo diventare uno. Lui ci farà vedere le nuove tecnologie dal 21 ottobre, sarà una dimostrazione di tecnologie avanzate tipo come la macchina volante e sta a noi a espandere il sapere in modo a capire questa tecnologia e a espanderla. Ha detto che non ci sono scelte, adesso tutti i diplomatici, i politici sono bloccati, gli aerei sono bloccati, tutto è bloccato per questo virus, quindi fa capire quanto la nostra tecnologia non funziona, quella attuale, e quindi è fatta in modo veloce. Questo è un po' il riassunto di quello che ha detto fino adesso. Adesso c'è John che sta parlando. E stanno parlando del carbone 14, che è un conduttore, un superconductor. Che con la presenza dell'idrogeno può portare a un'espansione dei campi o a una restrizione dei campi. E quindi lui sta dicendo, quindi hai l'ossigeno da una fine e il carbonio dalla carbon. Oddio. Sta dicendo che quando vedi l'ossigeno, quando il carbonio 14, da quello che ho capito io, è in contatto con l'idrogeno o col plasma dell'idrogeno, puoi avere una espansione o una restrizione. Adesso con un contenitore d'acqua possiamo creare l'uomo, i pesci, tutto. Una goccia, una vita. E quindi vi faccio vedere la vita come si forma. In quella goccia noi possiamo mettere tutto il contenuto dell'universo. E quindi se riesco a formare vita in questo pianeta, possiamo replicare la vita anche al di fuori di questo pianeta. Se capite, carbone 14 e il deuterium come atomo di cibo, food atoms. E quindi molto presto noi porteremo la vita. E quindi col corona stiamo cercando di sopravvivere con una coppa e una vita, però con una goccia noi riusciremo a creare la vita. Una goccia e una vita. Vi faremo vedere la tecnologia e la scienza che c'è dietro.
You can ask as many questions. Today is a question time.
So, when we build our 5-cup system, we share the energy of our soul with the 5-cup system. Is that sharing, creating, or recreating a new soul, like of our soul?
Mr. Keshe dicendo che i computer di adesso avranno l'anima, la propria personalità.
to see this creation. This is not just a machine, it's more than what mankind can understand. And in so many ways, we have made it so simple that the intelligence of man is nothing.
Le nuove macchine vanno al di là di quello che l'uomo può capire.
hydrogens and all the tritiums and deuteriums, if it's not created on the same condition from the same material, even that would have different characteristics. So, extend your knowledge. What do you want to know? Mashfaq, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm there. Yes.
Or did I lost you in the maze of knowledge?
Well, maybe I'm lost and maybe a little bit found. So, so now, can I use a deuterium? I mean, let's say I produce some deuterium, and can I use the plasma of the deuterium from that, from the deuterium ligands I created, and change the state to tritium or hydrogen on demand, so that I can create the necessary field effect, plasma effect.
Of course you can.
And would you like to shed some light on how we would do this?
Yes, you can in so many ways. You can change the deuterium, you can change hydrogen, you can change tritium according to the plasmatic field is the strength. Yes, you can, but you have to find the fields. If you look at the picture I put with all the fields, you have to find the right connection of fields that they fit. Now we have to be able to understand the gravitational and magnetic field forces of it. We have to be able to grasp which field in strength, in gravitational, matches the one in magnetical. And if they do, you'll find many hydrogens don't match with each other. Cannot even put them in a pot, they don't fit, just because you think they're hydrogen and make the gases you made. I use this knowledge a lot in the space technology. As I was saying, the difference between my work and many of your work is you just do because you think it can be done. I do because I know how to get it done. And this is the difference. That's why I create results in different way, and you try and you do, and randomly you might achieve it.
Mr. Keshe, that was very clear. Actually, this cleared up many things in my mind. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Did I talk to your soul, and the soul brought the knowledge of physicality?
Well, in due course, I'll realize. Right now, I'm sitting.
No problem.
I have another question. Another question. It's about the 5-cup.
Yep.
I made it, and as I was making it, one of the things that struck me is that I was putting this, like the bottom 2 cups and the top cup, I was putting the containers. But then I thought, I put sort of like the half sphere container at the bottom of these, and then I realized, why not put a glass sphere with salt water in it in these containers, the 3 containers, the gravitational magnetic one and the inertia one and the top one, the soul of man. And then after leaving them there for a while and then take those balls out, they should be functional after I take them out of those cups, wouldn't they?
And don't know what function you want to get from it.
Function means I can, just like you were talking a little bit about before that, about carrying balls that can fully function in your pocket. Can I connect to it as if it's like another 5-cup with these 3 balls, because they contain all the fields.
What have you put in the ball? And when you made the ball, what was the purpose of it? What did you envisage to get?
I would like to have the fields of the cup in those balls, the way they exist
yes,
now.
but you have to remember one point. It's what is in that ball is what is it? Because now, if you took energy from the water of the cup to go in that glass, is minus the filtering ability of the ball itself. The containment has created a filtering to be able to cross it. This is what I explained many times, and many of you don't understand. This is why we go into directly. A lot of you are playing with this inertia, water, gravity waters, and you don't even understand what you're doing. You're just thinking what will happen. Of course, this is part of research to do, but why do you need the water of the gravity? Have you asked yourself, why do you touch the inertia? What does that give you? What is it used for? What's the implication of it? Why have we shown you this part of the technology? And many of you don't understand. And you just pick up. You want to take the water from it and do. What's the logic behind this? Why have we introduced such a simple way to gravitational field of this planet? Why are you taking it? What's the reason behind it? Why are you putting the ball inside? Or is it just something to do?
No, it's if I put the ball inside there, an empty ball, essentially, an empty glass ball, and the glass ball, and then
yeah, but that empty glass ball still have a dimension of matter. Just because it's not empty, it carries oxygen, hydrogen, it carries airs in it.
but can I create a field containment in that ball?
It is a field containment minus what you call the filtering of the plastic.
Isn't the glass a transparent? If it's a glass ball, isn't it transparent? Just like it's a 2 times carbon-14?
No.
Like
just because you want to think about it? No.
No.
In the future teachings, I explain why I have given you these two. Maybe he will tell you now you don't understand it, it's another bit you hear. The reason we created this condition of the gravitational inertia is the fingerprint in the future space technology that it can bring you back to Earth. That's the only time you will use it. You take the fingerprint from the gravitational inertia and the gravitation which you have created, and from the inertia cup lands you precisely in the place where you created it. You remember the ET go home? This is the message, this is the technology. That's why I showed you how to create gravitational fields in these boxes. These are fingerprints in the space technology of the future to bring man to Earth. This is the reason. And then the gravitational field is continuously the same for the whole planet. So your destiny is Earth, but you don't want to land in the ocean. You create the inertia of desert. You create the inertia of the beautiful city of Tehran, and you land in Tehran. This, what I gave you, is the understanding of the technology. As I take you into a space technology you already have. You've seen it, you understand it. That's why these cups are in use. At the moment to you is nothing. Why do you put it there? You're on Earth, you're in the same position. What do you want to do? In the coming time, in the next few weeks, when we travel from, let's say, Vienna to Tehran. My destiny point is the inertial field which is created in Tehran will land me in Tehran. I don't need to navigate. I built the basis for the future space technology in the proper base that man can understand, but I put it right in front of you and you don't understand it. Now you understand why there is the inertia and the gravity. Now you understand, but why are you doing it? Why are you using it?
Now the question would be, can I use these balls if I put them there as the reference?
For what? You're already on Earth, you're where you are. Where do you want to go? You want to jump in?
No, if let's say I'm in Linz, I want to come back to where I am, and I have these two balls.
That's what I told you. No, you don't need the gravity part. You just need the inertia part. But make sure you made the right inertia. You might land in, where are you from, Bangladesh?
Yes.
You might end up in Delhi, huh?
Yeah.
It's a universal GPS using the structure of the universe. Now we make computers to do it. I've given you a simple version of the universal system. But because you don't understand it, you use just a box. I know what I teach, and I know why I give you things that you have time to understand it. In so many ways, this is even an interim knowledge, because the true knowledge, when you put it into the systems to fly, we don't carry waters and we don't carry ganses. We have to understand the field strength, the inertia of the earth. Motherland calls. You are on planet Zeus, and you want to go to Earth. This is how we develop the GPS in the universe, not the way you do with electronics. I told you, my knowledge of electrical and electronics compared to the knowledge of the universe is obsolete by millions of years. But mankind is going through that process of knowledge development, so we have to give it a hand. All of you, now 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, you're making these cups, and you're making everything else. But now, slowly, we open the knowledge of it. We open why they're there. And many of you might have learned something for the future. Let me tell you, extend your imagination and knowledge. You buy an orange in the state of California, in the United States, you're American, and you taste everything you can imagine about the orange. You're a Jew, you created Jaffa orange by capturing the deserts of Egypt, and you love to have Jaffa orange because it gives you the taste of whatever brought you when you thought you're superior. The same way you produce orange in the valleys of Sicily, where it's full of oranges. And if I give you an orange, which has the feels of the orange in Valley of Sicily, when you're American, doesn't taste like home. But if I can create the fields of the same orange in orange in Sicily, you taste it and it tastes like the orange at home in California. In a way, we have to use the inertia and the soul of the life to be able to replicate exactly how we'll bring the taste of that location to us. And this is the breakthrough in the knowledge, where we carry the emotion of the food with it. This is why if you go back some time ago, when Alex tried the orange, he says, you taste the orange, eat the orange, but you actually not the orange. Now, if you create the same inertia in Sicily, I can give you orange from Jaffa or from California. This is why we introduced this technology. You're an American in Planet Zeus, you want a Jaffa orange, you still get the same orange juice taste of energy. If you're a Jewish guy from the captured lands of Sanya, and then if you're from Sicily, you feel the same as you exactly drinking from Sicily, oranges. This is the first time mankind can change, add emotion to the knowledge of the physicality. If you
Questa è la prima volta che l'uomo riesce a cambiare l'emozione
go back to the teaching of even the stone has a soul. You step on a stone.
Se andate a vedere
You feel the emotion of the stone you're standing
la
on.
conoscenza dell'insegnamento dell'anima.
Do I need to walk this planet and create more pain for its citizens and its objects? Mankind has been so narrow-minded, and now we're becoming more and more narrow-minded. We're becoming vegetarian, not to kill the big animals, but we chew millions of them. But now, conscious of man is, what about the stone you walk on? If you understood the teaching of Allah, bless his name, even a stone has a soul. Read the verses of Quran, gives you the same. Read in Torah, gives you the same. Read the true angel, not the way has been changed. The New Testament, all the messages are the same, but mankind do not want to understand. This time, science and religion explains both. Now the man has to decide the future of itself. When I kiss the land you walk on, it's not the land, it's the soul you leave behind as mark with your walk. The dog sent the footpath to find a person. So if you can sense it, you have left the soul, impression of your soul on it. When I kiss the land, it's kissing the soul which you walk to, you created. Mankind has to understand the truth in the step by step. Now, you were worried, you were killing a cow, a pig, you want to become a vegetarian. Now you realize you're killing many seeds because each one has a soul. You kill more by eating a spoonful of rice. And now imagine the stone you walk on. What about its soul? Do you want to be in the dimension of physicality, or do you want to stay in the dimension of the soul that you don't touch none? And you accommodate the position and the time and the place. Do you still want to be a human? Now you understand, but sometimes I say I'm ashamed to be in the body of the man, because every move you make, you take from something which you're not allowed. Unless you have decided I take, doesn't matter. You ask. And if you are given, it means it's accommodated and shared. Any other question? You see, now that we go into more depth of the knowledge, true knowledge of creation, theology goes through the window. because the essence of the knowledge creates that condition that does not leave any room for theology. Any other question?
We've got a couple of questions in the Q&A, and we had 3 people with their hands up as well. One question in the Q&A would be about how people can support and contribute to specifically the Arizona situation. I suggested they contact John.
In which way? In which way? In which way they want? Arizona Center is fully paid in between the partners for everything. There is no financially no outstanding bits except what is getting developed. All the machinery, the building, everything is paid in the joint partnership.
Ha detto che stanno costruendo queste macchine nella
So what do they want to help?
zona e tutto quanto ci è stato pagato per queste costruzioni.
So I guess that would be to promote it when the time is appropriate, and to there's nothing they can do to like speed it along or make things better or anything. It's already figured out, like you were saying. It's already designated and doesn't need that kind of help, let's say.
Yeah, we have to wait to deliver.
Per consegnare.
When John's wisdom and collaboration between the Iranian Space Group and NASA, and we see a place for Lockheed Martin to come in, we devote and put part of it at the disposal of the 2 nations. And for the scientists to deliver and develop more. We do the same in China. In China, we'll bring the collaboration between the Iranian Space Agency and the Chinese Space Agency on the same time.
In Iran, come in Arizona, avremo anche una collaborazione con le agenzie dello spazio.
Pivot common denominator between all the space agencies.
E quindi noi diventeremo come un comune dominatore tra tutte le agenzie dello spazio.
You got to understand, humanity has different intellect and looks at things different way.
E quindi l'umanità avrà una
sometimes bring it together shows its beauty.
E far vedere la sua bellezza.
Process will take shape, as I said. The request by the Keshe Foundation in China has been made to the Chinese authorities for collaboration between Chinese Space Agency and Keshe Foundation. That was requested from the head of the Keshe Foundation in China to the Chinese authorities. The same sits with the Russians, and the same Arizona will become a focal point between the Keshe Foundation, the Iranian government's space agencies, and the American organization.
E quindi anche l'organizzazione americana
the center of excellence.
Dello spazio collaborerà con i cinesi e gli iraniani.
Very much forward to the new administration in the United States to a close collaboration between all sides of the technology in Arizona.
Quindi una collaborazione tra tutti gli scienziati, anche quelli americani.
As we see in the present past 48 hours, the thugs will take over again. This to the head of the Keshe Foundation recently. We see the 2 ladies at the head of the Keshe Foundation to take place place as the position of the common ground between the world leaders to bring the position of the peace.
Stiamo vedendo che appunto le due donne della fondazione stanno prendendo posizione.
Universal Council to facilitate, as you already work across different nations together. As you know, I always carry, it doesn't matter how long it takes, my wish and my way. And we will see these two ladies traveling the breadth and the length of all the nations across the world in coming weeks and months to do what is their job, Keshe Foundation Technology Against Peace for the Nation. And we deliver it, the technology that are in their hand to be able to negotiate with. Any other question?
Yes, we have several hands up, so let's address them. Johans, I think you are first, and then Svetslav, then Gatwa. Hello, Johan. See your microphone's open, but we're not hearing you speaking yet.
Hello, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, he's there. Yep. He needed a touch of soul to come in. Yep.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Johannes Krivara, and I'm born in Germany, but I live in Finland now. And we were talking very quickly last week, Wednesday, in the exhibition in Linz. First of all, yeah, thank you very much for this whole exhibition and everything you do. It was a real pleasure to be there, and it was an amazing experience. And well, in this way, I would also like to say thank you to all the people I met over there: Herbert, Günther, Jalal. You're an amazing teacher, and yeah, Dean, it was beautiful to meet you. You're an amazing journalist, keeping us updated about what's happening there.
You mean a spy in the cap? You know what it means, a spy in the cap? In the English language, we used to have truck drivers, and the truck drivers had a white disc in there that shows when they did wrong and what they've done. And that disc is known as a spy in the cap. It reports to the police when they get it what they've done while they were driving. So it spies on them. So Dean has become one of those caps. He reports everything everywhere. Carry on.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, one other thing, I just wanted to say, when you start talking, any of the teachings, it makes me smile from the inside, and it's just beautiful to listen to your teachings. So much
Thank
knowledge.
you very much.
It's just, yes. The question I have, it's about soul teaching in general. It's, you say, if we do misconduct, then basically the creations of our soul, they are starting off with the wrong foot. So they are lacking of some energy, they are lacking in some things, but they are starting off in the wrong way. Now, the earth, which is basically our mother, is kind of not creating us in a complete way, if I understood this correctly. That means we are lacking 20% of energy, and in that way we are doing a lot of misconduct to get these 20%. So the Earth...
And the pleasures of getting it.
I'm sorry?
And the pleasures of getting it.
Yes.
Yeah.
As well. It's always two sides, of course. My question was in general that, well, kind of the Earth is created by the Sun. So basically the Earth is our mother, the Sun is our grandmother. We maybe can say that way. Has there been something that the soul of the Sun, the soul of the Earth, has been doing which is not complete, and therefore we are not complete, or something wrong in that way, or is that a little bit the wrong understanding?
It's a combination of, but there's one point to understand. In due course, the Earth will move on towards the center of the planet, or center of the solar system. We will see a new cycle, a new entity, be it Mars, be it another planet, be it Jupiter, whatever, will move into this position of distance from the Sun. The question is, would this create life the same way? And would the citizens of the planet will behave this way as the mandate on Earth? It's so many ways asking a single question. Would Jupiter and Sun will create a lifestyle like man and this position in the solar system? And would the citizens of this planet will misconduct or become better or worse than the human at this moment which are in this gap? We are in a transition point in the solar system. We are part of a dynamic structure. Is it that what the atmosphere and gravitational field of the Earth takes creates this shortfall? Would the creatures which are created on Jupiter, when it takes the position of life, it could be far distant or closer to the Sun, will have the same characteristics? Would the Jupiter be kind enough to create life that it needs nothing from it, like a moon? But it can create as many as. As it says, a new knowledge needs new understanding, but with the open eye, that we don't become prejudiced and then become narrow-minded with it. This is the problem. Would the next generation or other planets or stars or the spaces in the universe which lead to creation of life will provide enough condition that the life they create does not depend on a physical condition to take? Would the soul of the man become a star that it can take any position in the universe and it still gives and will have no misconduct? Or would our souls, when it leaves this planet and is done up to now, will carry that misconduct and lead to creation of more wrongs? In the new creation, they become the son of. If you look, the soul of the man creates and leads to creation of many souls. Or is it the way we want it to be now, to to elevate the soul of the man to become perfect. When he leaves the physicality to become a son in the universe, in the unicos, will create perfect children. And being open to understand the totality is amazing. Today, number of the knowledge seekers of the Keshe Foundation in China are in Tibet. They've gone to see the temples. They've gone to understand the emotion and understanding of the Buddhist life. And in a way to extend the knowledge to the understanding of the Keshe Foundation. There are a few of them, they're old ladies, and they have gone to Tibet to experience and see in a long way, most probably, how they can connect the two together and with it to come out better understanding. And why do we do this? On the other hand, the other knowledge seekers travel the breadth and the length of the planet to share that knowledge with each other. Nowadays we do it with the Zoom and telephone calls and internet, as the borders are closed, but they couldn't close the border of their communication. Now, as we said today, we extend the next level in. Now we can communicate across the universe with the new plasma technology, the new computers which are coming in. I'll call them computers. The universal computers are opening of the man to the unicos. It's no use me taking you to a space when you don't know where you go, when you don't know how to talk, when you don't know where you are. And as you've seen, so softly and gently approach you into knowledge of the unicos. Don't forget, I've been a teacher for billions of years and I'm master in teaching. And I know how to get my way according to the knowledge and understanding of the citizens of the planet. In 10 years, I have taught you more than the whole humanity ever learned in the process of millions of years. In the next 6 months, you don't have choice. Those of you who understand will take a different dimension and extension to this. So you have to decide.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Very much. Thank you for coming. Any other question? As I said, many knowledge seekers are making their way to be here to experience the knowledge, to experience what knowledge is about to bring. As we said to the people who run it and are giving more and more accommodation for the technology to be shown, will become a center where the new technology will take root. And in that process, the whole knowledge, the whole package of it belongs to the Keshe Foundation Austria. Keshe Foundation Manufacturing Austria carries the totality of everything which is developed across the world and owned across the world in mind. The foundation is just a point of reference. Just my name has no value except sharing of the knowledge by those who volunteer to share. I knew one day foundation will be attacked this way, and we set it up that it cannot be touched. those who claim they own 50% of it, you own nothing but shameful conduct, as it has no assets but the assets of the soul of the volunteers and knowledge seekers. Knowledge seekers have to understand this, because my time has a physical lapse. And the day I die, all the assets of the Keshe Foundation is in my personal name. And with that, at my will, is given to the foundation if the foundation is of a correct conduct and run correctly. The foundation has no value financially, and we deliberately made that if one day is attacked, as it's been done today, it stays with no assets and no responsibility. As my wish has been to make the assets of the foundation to be owned by every citizen of this planet. No volunteer owns anything of it, and it's been done deliberately. Volunteer work does not get paid, has no value, because you volunteer to work, to share. Those of you who asked a simple question, the foundation is absolutely solid in its commitment to serve humanity, but has no assets except you as volunteers who build it to be and to be shared. Any other question?
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Good day to everyone. I have a few questions. Svetsa from
Can you, who is it?
Svetsa from Bulgaria. The first question is about the universal enchantment unit. From the
About what?
Universal enchantment unit.
Yes.
From the pictures from Linz, I see there is inside balls, probably with gases and rotating motors.
It's your assumption.
Okay, so it's not.
That's your, we don't say yes or no, that's your assumption.
Okay.
There is so many hidden technologies in this system.
But
That's for this. Pardon?
But in the balls, there is gases or other things?
There could be anything in it. What we use, we don't explain, we don't need to, because you have to test and see what you understand. Because I realize knowledge seekers are just a bunch of monkeys. Monkey see, monkey does. We don't add to it. So we deliberately have made things in so many ways for you lot that you don't think is that to be. And as I said, even today, in past week, we have changed the dimensions and work of it. Don't forget, what you see is not necessarily what it is and what it does. Having gases, not having gases, and in the next generation, empty balls, and the generation after, using the fields of the universe, is all part of the development and understanding.
I see. The second question is about the antibodies after the corona, because lots of people think they are safe if they have antibodies. In the paper, I don't read anywhere about the antibodies.
Where? Which paper?
In the about the corona.
Yes.
The Time magazine.
antibody is the dream of the man, anti-gravity, dark matter. These are what you're looking for, because then you have something to compare it with. What do you need antibody?
Because a lot of people think if they have the corona and they have antibodies and they are safe.
What? Using the gases?
No. When you have the infection, your body makes antibodies. And the present doctors think if you have the corona, you have antibodies, and you are safe. You don't you don't need to worry about the corona, and this is like a myth. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I talk with a few doctors, and I try to explain that this is not true, but it's hard to tell him that the antibodies is not like what they think.
You got to remember, as I said many times, two fields of education. Doctors and lawyers are the only ones who sworn to the ethos of whatever their society is. And in so many ways, when they sign that paper, it means whatever lies I've been told, I have to accept and I have to repeat and protect. This is the present situation with the health conduct around the world. You sign yourself into, same with the lawyers, you sign yourself into the law society or the lie society, either way. Or you sign yourself in the education of lying in the line of medicine. It's impossible, it doesn't work, even if you put it in front of them, they understand. Many of them realize they've signed the wrong paper. And they're always afraid that that right will be taken from them, and they have to oppose it because, as we said, World Health Authorities says no, and I've signed to protect the health, but I didn't sign myself to the World Health Authorities. I signed to look after the health of the humanity. And they're taken to ransom, and that's why when you explain to them, they understand it, but they say, "Oh, that signature was taken off me. I have to say no," because they say no. But many doctors are breaking rank because they see the other ways and new ways. Your job is to explain and bless their soul, and let it be part of that.
Yes, I'm trying. The next is more like a request. Can I speak in private with you about the situation in Bulgaria?
Yes, but go through the right channels, please.
I write to the email to the foundation before.
In Bulgaria, as you know, we have many problems over years, and we have so much bigger problems built up because of it. And we try to understand a lot. Bulgaria is a very special position for itself, and we try to be very much on guard with Bulgaria. We've seen many good things and many developments, and we know one of the staunch, what I call enemies of the Keshe Foundation sits in Bulgaria. She's taken over after the death because she was a webmaster there, and she is working now, as we hear, with the other part in divulging a lot of lies. So we have to be very careful how and who we talk to in Bulgaria. Bulgaria is a very beautiful Keshe Foundation team, but the infiltration is deep by those who are what we call the enemies of the foundation.
Because we try to develop and spread the knowledge, but if we reach the governmental level, and we wait for meeting. And this is one of my.
It's no problem. The Bulgarian government or the structure in the back knows about the case. As you know, we had a conference some years ago there.
Yes.
Very successful. But now, what I say, we have to be very careful with Bulgaria because the structure of the Bulgarian community has to be safeguarded.
As far as I know, we are not so many which are working.
There is many. Keshe Foundation Bulgaria is very big, but it's scattered now.
But not so many working then every day. I mean.
Yes, yeah, there's a lot of them do. There's a lot of them. The same with the Turkish. We don't see much, but Turkish Keshe Foundation is huge. The same with Russia.
Yeah, because we make some progress, and I want
to speak to Stanley, where is the best place to send a message? Send a message and then we get in touch with you through that channel. Is it info? Stanley, yes. Yeah, what's the best, what is the best way to contact us?
info@keshe.foundation.
Send a message there, put Bulgaria as a title. We'll get picked up and we come back to you to see how we can support you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, perhaps we can take a question from Gatwa now.
You want to take a break?
Oh, okay.
If we take a break and then we come back to the other questions.
Okay, very good. Okay, so we'll take a short break and be back for second half of this show. Okay, here we are back at the 348th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And we'll have to check in and see if Mr. Keshe is ready or we need a break.
Ready, able, and willing.
Good. Okay, well, perhaps you can address Gachwa's question here next.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Good morning, Dr. Gachwa. How are you?
Good. I'm very well. Thank you very much. I want to thank you very much for your excellent teaching, which gets more profound every week. I must say that today's teaching is very profound. And welcome. Thank you for bringing it. Sure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much for bringing peace to the world. Now appears that it's already here with the present technology. I have two questions. One is about enhancement unit. First, thank you very much for giving absolutely free access to the poor, these enhancement plasma units. And the question about those is, I have been asked by quite a number of people how they could access this. So the question would be, how do poor people in the countries like Kenya, where I live, have access to this enhancement unit? Are they going to be arriving soon?
No. You listen to what is going to be discussed next week by in the teaching. We have put a legal framework into it, and this way allows us to do what we want to do to spread the system around the world. We have a production capacity which we can meet, and we have decided the Keshe Foundation Manufacturing Austria to be able to allow many people to be able to work with the foundation to make it accessible to the rest of the people. There are a number of reasons we do this. First of all, a number of charities are prepared to back this project, which will be announced, which means in so many ways, a number of organizations will be able to work with the foundation to deliver these into different parts. At the same time, people of each nation collectively can do that. We will start, as you know, we started last week before, with the first pilot plan in Switzerland, where collective number of people, knowledge seekers, came together and facilitated the purchase, what they call value of the purchase. And in that process, we supported it. In a way, we became part financing the technology systems, and they came out with other part of it. And as you know, Switzerland will be one of the first with such a joint venture with public. And we'll extend this in the coming weeks. We explain how it's going to work with individual doctors or groups. Even people in one village or one town can be. And foundation will come as the other part of it. This is the decision of the head of the Keshe Foundation is we're going to wait till next week. She wants it to go that way. And then we have to synchronize the across in China and the rest of the world. This become possible to do. And at the same time, not only we reach those needy, but we allow the technology become accessible by everyone to benefit by it. But as I said, the two heads of the Keshe Foundation wishes this till next Thursday. We keep it till that day, and then it'll be announced jointly by them how they envisage as they take the first responsibility in that way as a head of the foundation. You got to understand something very simple. I move in the background as developer of new technology, make it available to the Keshe Foundation manufacturer in Austria. And through that, through knowledge seekers across the planet, and the work of the Universal Council and the Earth Council in bringing the two groups together in locating and location of each unit, or how the units are put. We estimate we can open approximately 1,000 centers around the world per year from January onwards. We have the capability to meet such a demand, but it has to be in a way that is operational and we can reach as many as possible. Our production facilities will match this process, and we foresee much simpler versions. But at the same time, we have to be able to deliver everything at the same time to many places. And depends how the knowledge seekers respond and how the world, what I call most of the charities which I'm talking to, they respond in how they want to invest, where they want to invest, where they want to donate their funds to be run. Then we tell you if it's going to be in Kenya, when it's going to be in Kenya, and where it's going to be, where, in what form and shape. Once we come to that position, it's a decision of the Universal Council members and the Earth Council members to decide for the allocation. I take it to them, it's their job. We are facilitator and developers of the technology. Decision of how it's going to be commercially run and how it's going to be looked at is by the two heads of the foundation. And then Universal Council and Earth Council decide on the position where and what the way it comes. It'll take another few months, everything to fall in place, but we have organizations and groups of people who can create this condition. We've seen the first of it in Switzerland, and we are supporting them to become what we call the first collective work of it. We are in Switzerland in the coming days to see it through. And then we are in another position next week to see another expansion on the other side of it. And then we build up into the structure of what we call all charities, how they see it, how they want to amalgamate, and the way it goes. And as I said, we have the first pilot system done with the Swiss as a big community of them. Collectively, they come up with part of the financing, and Keshe Foundation has backed the rest of it. Keshe Foundation Manufacturing Austria has backed the rest of it. And in that process, we want to carry this pilot project right across the world to give the opportunity to every location, every village or everything in the next 5 years, some 10,000 centers to be built around the world. By the people, for the people, amongst the people, and with it. And then you decide who can afford paying and how much can afford paying and who can use it freely. Then it comes in the hand of the knowledge seekers locally.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. That's amazing. Good news. So the second question, okay, go ahead, please.
The position for us was to develop and complete the technology the way we wanted it. And now gradually the production will be allocated to those who want to have and those who want to give for others to have. We make it easy that every nation can have as many as possible. The production will be allocated in that way, and we can meet easily in the next 3 to 5 years to have at least one unit or many units in every city on this planet and every town, because the production is getting more simplified. but it has to be done by the citizens.
Thank you very much indeed. So the second question is about the new computers, balls that you held in your hand. Going back to the fact that even stones have souls, so it's not an assumption, but I know that those balls have souls. So the question is, do they carry the soul of the soul of man, or the soul of the universe? Or the universe
the filling of these balls are done in a specific way. And as I said, we have built a special pattern in production of the units, even the brain cells. It has to have a soul, it has to have a feeling, it has to have a dimension, very much not the human brain is a simple version of universal system. We need to deliver in a structure, a system, which is in a way used in the universe that the system can match universal work. And that is what we are aiming at. We are delivering fully integrated. In a way, if you look at it, the soul of the man inside, a soul of entity inside, which we can hold its physicality, and with it we can communicate that it can connect to the rest of, because we haven't learned how to do it with our soul yet or with our physicality. So this is an interim, a ball of light, where in communication with you, where your soul will be enlightened, you know it's in line with you, it's communicating with you as the two fields interact.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Keshe. I look forward to the most beautiful times in the days ahead, and with complete peace in the world. Thank you.
You're welcome. It is the job of the heads of the Keshe Foundation and Universal Council to make sure the message of the new technology and delivery of it to every nation is done the correct way. I'm a servant to humanity, and I've done my service. And now it's the job of humans themselves to serve the race. Very simple. We deliver the technologies. And it's for mankind to choose the path of peace and new technology to rapidly change things and put things correctly. But you will have, as we've seen in the present time, especially in the past 48 hours, the ugly side of human race, very ugly side. But need be will interfere directly. What I heard in the past 48 hours is a shame on being a world leader, a nation, a leader who calls his people to be ready to destroy other people in the same nation. And we have to wait and see. Threatening, if I don't become, I ruin my nation. Better that nation not to exist, to be ruined by itself. I told you, self-destruction cannot be blamed. And in so many ways, what we had in past 24 hours, coming from American election by the President of the United States, brings to us a need for the change of society in a very direct way. Calling a nation to anarchy if I don't get elected by the white supremacists is what was the biggest fear of the American nation. A president taking his nation to ransom should not be the behavior of the man. And that's why we don't need any presidents and heads of state, as the power dilutes them from reality of their position. Keshe Foundation and its technology stands behind what we call the new administration to come into operation in the United States. We support peace and we support sharing of knowledge. But what we've seen as a thuggery by the head of a state has to come an end. The nations do not need a head. The nation needs someone who can explain what that country can do or that part of the world can do and fall within the laws of Universal Council as one nation, one planet, one race. As we see, mankind is getting to that point. This nation has killed many, and now it's time for itself, it gives to itself to destroy itself. And it's done by the heads. We've seen these number of people, some 10,000 on the back streets of Washington when people were claiming or the black man was killed. They were kept in the background to start anarchy. And now they're being called in to do on the nation. There's two things. Do we need to elevate the soul of this nation to bring peace on humanity, or do we let it go to doldrums of non-existence? It's with the greatest sadness to hear the head of a state splitting its own nation if it's not done. We've seen the same in Belarus in the past few days. It shows the time has come that the world sits against leadership as one collective leadership, and the basis for it is shown more on. And I hope, my biggest wish is, this behavior will not go to the head of the two heads of the Keshe Foundation, the present and the future, and the members of Universal Council and Earth Council, that their position is to serve and not to be the head and to be listened to and be pride in the position they've taken. The job of the Universal Council, the Earth Council, and the two heads of the Keshe Foundation for now and the future is, if you see such a conduct, remove. Do not wait. Remove from position. And a structure has been set for removal of every member at the same time. You see big-headedness and destruction and division within the Keshe Foundation from the two heads of the Keshe Foundation. Remove them immediately. Don't wait for the time it might change. The same is with the Universal Council members and the Earth Council members. The work is set up is to create peace and a peaceful condition through technology, delivery of the technology, and what it comes as a benefit of the new technology, that everyone has what they need according to the time, the place, and the position. No one is above the soul of the man, and the man collectively is of the planet. And I said that to the heads of the Keshe Foundation. Never be deluded with the power you're given. It's skin of onion thick. As long as you serve correctly, collectively and correctly, that's all your purpose is. And we see it with 2 or 3 heads of nation now is coming. We expect more problems, people against the leaders, and leaders trying to stick onto it. Today, the European community is meeting what to do with Belarus, where the president wants to stand. I wonder how many of them look internally to themselves and what they stand in the position in their own nations, how they got into power. As I said a long time ago, in the new structure of the universal order, there is no room for kingship and president. Man has to live collectively in peace anywhere on this planet and beyond.
Mr. Keshe, Life asks in the YouTube, how do we get rid of the thugs in the USA peacefully?
You don't get rid of them. You know them. Go the new way. Go your way. elevate their souls. Connect all the Maghreb systems you have across your nation. Connect all the dynamic systems you built across your nation. That will bring the dome of peace on your nation. You got to understand, every facility is there. I was talking to the head of the Keshe Foundation yesterday. I have made a structure that we can reach every nation through knowledge seekers. You are not aware how we have established what we call Earth Group as part of the knowledge seekers and with the same ethos. That collectively, gradually, we change our nation, we change our planet in the which we are. That's what I told you when I let the Maghreb units go. I teach you how to connect to each other. Knowledge seekers in US, you have built all these Maghreb, there's tens of thousands of these Maghrebs in your homes, you're given to rent. You have made the two cups, linked them up, and as you all made with a wish to the benefit yourselves mostly, and partially to work at the Peters of the Keshe Foundation, you will see how you'll change your nation in coming days. It's the job of the Keshe Foundation, US and Canada, to bring these people, bring the systems together. John knows how to do it. And many people, Alex in Canada knows how to do it. Connect your systems, and exactly like Caribbean. Your wish is peace. You will see how the things will change in the next days to come. The power of the knowledge and the power of the peace is within the soul of the knowledge seekers. Link up. When you want to learn, link up your system, link up your souls, and call for the peace, and you will receive it. Receive or have received all peace. Very simple. Link up and change your nation. With it, will bring peace to the others. You got to understand what happened to the United States. The president called for the army to come in. They refused. Called for everything else. Now he's gone to thugs. Your job is to elevate the soul of those thugs. And maybe the president, Keshe Foundation and its technology and tool negotiation stands solid behind peace and prosperity of every nation, including the United States. And as we said before, we stand solid behind what we call nominated vice president to be, as we see here, the correct conduct person to carry the United States into peaceful condition. Kamala Harris is the key to peace in the United States and the rest of the planet. She has a 100% solid support of us and our technology. We don't get into politics, we get into politics of peace. And by delivering it, we create a new condition of new employment, new jobs, new prosperity for American nation through correct conduct. The same message was sent to the Iranian leaders on Monday. There is no difference. Any other question?
Well, Barbara mentions in the Q&A, says, Mr. Keshe, I feel that there will be people that may resist these changes to come. What will happen to these souls if they don't accept these changes? Free will comes to mind.
Oh, it's not a matter of accepting the changes. The changes are here. We've seen some people, even in the past few days, have gone trying to split the Keshe Foundation on the line of a lot of other things. is the wisdom of the knowledge seekers, which has to rule. We've seen the last division in the Keshe Foundation launched. There will be no more. And the reason for it is, as was said, a bunch of thugs and others wanted to take over the foundation because all the work is done. Now it's time to harvest the fruit of all of us, our peaceful application and nations. And it will come. We were waiting for these moves, and we have protected the foundation from these moves. Coming in the clothes of the sheep, but to be a wolf inside. The world leaders have to lead through knowledge, technology, and peace. And when they get to the tools of what we see, it's time for the replacement through the soul. Execution, prison taking, and prisoners will not work anymore, because you got to learn. Many of you, if you have leaders who are peaceful leaders and correct leaders and imprisoned, you have the knowledge with you to move their souls and their physicality from their imprisonment. The knowledge has been given to you, and let them be the people of peace and freedom. But would they stay that, or are they there for a time? They are in opposition. The point is, do we need heads of states? Or do we need states that they can head themselves with groups and committees who run to serve them, to serve humanity? And all of you have that power and the system which is given to you to stand the technology. Use it wisely, you achieve it.
Mr. Keshe, Thomas had asked in the Q&A earlier, can we integrate in a supportive way our soul energies with the Linz exhibit?
Yes. As I said, today we didn't announce, and nobody knew we are here. It's just a few of us. And it's done deliberately, because when we have other people here, they distract from teaching and what we want to convey the messages. And clearly we stated the position of the Keshe Foundation worldwide and what is to come. And it's within this environment of the, what we call the lens. You can link to it because it's made from your body and the mind, carries the structure of the copper and zinc, which is a constituent of our emotion and physicality.
People comment about the peace they feel when they come into the building there, or into the exhibit area.
It's peaceful because it's balanced, it's full of energies. It's balance of the field, and it's so much of it, and it's getting more and more of it.
And there have been comments like Dean and...
You had your spies here.
Yeah, the spies have been reporting that it's hard to...
Did you get any report yesterday? Did the spy report to you? Oh my God.
Yeah, Dean,
I wasn't here yesterday. Dean, ah.
Yeah,
you should see him here. He's hiding his head behind his hand. He's one of the people here.
He's been there a long time. He's
it's part of the fixture I'm fitting now.
Yeah, you'll have to put a reactor on his head and he can stand there. So people have different experiences while they're there, and it's they seem to be having a common experience of this peacefulness that they feel inside. and kind of almost a shutdown of the brain chatter, you might say, or some people call it the you know, our thoughts and random kind of things that are going through our head, or plans and that kind of thing.
It is sense of achievement. When you come here, everything is talk or whatever. When you are here and you see step by step, the sense of achievement gives you confirmation of the correctness in what I believe is here to be done. And that's what it affects people mainly. Confirmation that what I stood for is here and it shows in totality. And in so many ways, as I was saying to the head of the KF Foundation recently, once we show and deliver the technology in a different ways, all these thuggery we've seen in the background with the KF Foundation, especially in the past 3-4 weeks, and across the people who thought they had the right to do, will shut down. Then people stand. If you were here 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, you saw a system the way they were. Now we set parameters, we extend the parameters, we put many simple things to open the test we do to understand the position. There's a lot of fear mongering is going on that these systems are not tested, these are this and that. These are the people who are the enemies of the foundation. They've been enemies within. And now, as they've been pushed out, they're using the fear technique and fear tactic out of their weakness and out of selling their souls to their what are called masters. We've seen it especially in the past few days. These are people who start the fear tactic, or the same, if you remember, when everything else started, because they know they lost. Humanity has won. We won in delivering technology. If you were here last week, you just saw a system. If you look at the original pictures, if you come in now, let's see if the webmaster, or what's called our IT person, can take us directly close into it. Can we take a camera right into the system? I see what you see on my telephone, then I can tell you exactly where we are. If we can we zoom it in? If you see here, can we zoom in even closer? You see new stands. We have put new ways of detection. First of all, we chose, if you see it here, the way Tesla showed the magnetic fields. When the fields build up, these fluorescent tubes around the system will light up. This is the first signs. If we don't jump power level magnetic fields, they will light up. Secondly, as we saw with the UFO, a number of, what I can know if you can see it in my hand, a number of magnets, a specific shape has been hung around that the interaction of the fields will, what we call, make them to move. And we know the field has reached the matter state too. But the beauty with the next step is you see a number of balls, gas balls specifically loaded to be when the system reaches a plasma condition. So we can, in different ways, detect progress in plasma development when and if it happens. And they've been put in different position, heights, and condition, and different materials to give us the best possibility. And at the same time, then if any of these three come into operation together, means the system has reached lift condition. Means we have overcome the gravity by the magnets. We see the condition of the plasma of the balls, special mixture, which gives us the information that now is in a matter of interaction with the physical atmosphere of the place. And with the lights, we see the interference ready to move. This is how we did the same kind of test in Iran when we achieved lift. simple methods, but understanding it allows us to do. We have put different conditions. There's more radios will come in. Then by silencing different radios through the fields interaction, we see the expansion of the system. These systems are certified. These are exactly how will be used in Arizona and everywhere else. They'll have a filling to match that. And so the technology literally comes in. You have to watch something very clear. Fear-mongering, which now we see from those who've been banished from the Keshe Foundation, they betrayed the foundation so deeply over years, just close your ears to. Because they know the time has come. And all that was done, that when the time comes to shut down, that keep slave to their masters on this planet. I have opened your hands to the universe. And I took a lot. And taking a lot has given you the freedom of the knowledge and technology. Do not, all the Keshe Foundations around the world, do not be bothered by a few writings of those who their plan from the beginning was for the technology to never come out. They are sold their souls to the master of evil. And we see it. Don't stand fear-mongering. We've seen a lot, especially past 2 or 3 weeks. This is this, this is that. If it was wrong, the governments who understand it won't allow it, certify, and the knowledge seekers come here to learn from it, to take it to their nations and to their heart. Technology is complete. Technology has shown itself across the world. It's not the first time we show it. How many of you have saved your lives with Corona using it? How many of you have developed other things and tested it? Fear-mongering is the behavior of the thought leaders and those who want to capture humanity in the hands of their masters to be a slave. I give you the knowledge to free the man. And this freedom has to be appreciated that the same way as created knowledge and released it freely, you appreciate it and carry it on. Anyone creates a condition of fear or try to make you afraid of, those are those who sold their body and their soul to the masters of evil, because now they lose control. Because true knowledge brings freedom, and I've given you the true knowledge for you to test, not just because I say so. The setup here is to gear for the next step, and then in a way, these are the simple ways that you see that the system now, we see a motion of the gases in the balls in a specific way we said, which means when the system starts running, we can put a person in it now interacts with the body. As they are made of the natural processes, natural materials can only bring balance. You got a cancer, it brings balance. You got emotional problem, it brings balance. And those who are here to serve humanity extend their work and their time to spread the knowledge. Those who sold their soul and body to the what we call the evil forces on this planet, they call it everything wrong. And we've never seen so much success coming one after another with Keshe Foundation than in the past 2 months, 3 months, where we got rid of the evil forces within the foundation, those who betrayed us inside. The exhibition brings those who come here peace, because it's confirmation of technology, it's confirmation of the truth which they come in. Development and showing of it in the further steps as we are testing more and more will bring the confirmation of freedom that everyone can reach it. Testing the flight system in the coming days, what we call, we show the car, flying car is not to show us the car can fly. It shows that we become free from the shackles of the fuel. we can create a new environment. To me, when I show what we call the car which is flies, is to show that we are free. We don't damage this planet anymore. That's the purpose of it. It costs you a few $100. You take out the engine out of the car, you take out the exhaust system out of the car, you throw out the fuel tank, and what does it give you? You have electric cars. You actually burn the fuel somewhere else. You haven't stopped burning, you haven't stopped damaging. Throw the engine out, electric or mechanical or whatever. Place very small. I tell you what you will receive. The new system for cars will be, is the camera on? It'll be something like this. Very simple. You replace it in where your shock absorbers are, and one in the center. You can get it. What do you want me to move? Yeah? You got it. You're on it. I can see. This is what it'll be. It'll replace in the position of your shock absorbers because they're in the four corners. It brings a balance. There's one in the center, and then it allows you to achieve a slight lift from the ground. These were the systems which in 2011 in November were supposed to be shown in Eindhoven. Nothing has changed, but now we are better developed and better equipped to show this. So it costs you very little. You take a shock absorber, you throw it in a bit, as you saw in the car in what you call the flying car. You take your engine, you throw it in. You actually can take whatever with a good body, and you have a car. You have a system that it can move you and take you to places. How fast do you think people who spend, was it about 1/10 of every family income spent on the fuel and car and everything else, now becomes availability of the funds to the family to live a better luxury, a better freedom, a better comfort. Because these systems, you buy another car, you just replace it, you take the shock absorber out and you put it in its position. With the electric cars, we created more damage than we actually did with the petrol cars, because now we hide it and we use more energy to create, we burn more fuel to create the same energy. So we are progressively going in that way. It's to understand the reality of what this technology will bring and how it will open us for next step of technology development and how we're going to do it and the way we're going to do it. If you remember, I post you a few pictures in a minute. This is what you should see in your cars and what it should be available to all of us. You will see, I'll show you the first flying car which was supposed to be shown in Eindhoven, and some of you have seen it. I'll post it for you that you see exactly how your car will look. You will do this to your car and you will be happy to do this to your car. Because first of all, not only you don't pay the fuel, you become very much aware that you've done yourself and your planet a service. This is how it will be in a very, very short time. You'll be happy the way I was to rip this thing apart. And you'll be more than happy to see the pictures I see. And this is not a dream. This is what it was ready to be shown in what I call Eindhoven 11 years ago. We were sold out from inside. And it took us 11 years to come back in. And this is what you will do with yourself and your car. First of all, you take your engine out and throw it away, because there is no need for it. The central column chassis to the back axle, not needed. There it goes, half of the weight of the car. Then that's where you see the central column is gone. This is the first flying car was set to be shown on 26th of November in Eindhoven. On 25th, somebody gave them a tip-off when they came in. I wonder who and how much you believed in lies. Now this is what you see in the back of the car. The fuel tank and everything else. You don't need. You will do this to your car and you'll be happy to do it. Because you will replace it, as I showed you, with a Coca-Cola size, on the shock absorber size, and done. In the coming weeks, when we show the flying system, it's much easier for us to fly it because 80% of the weight is thrown out. The biggest weight of the body will be the shell and the chairs you sit in, and yourself. You still have the Rolls Royce. You still drive your Mini, but Mini with nothing in it, miniaturized in every shape or form. This is the evolution in the science. And in fact, if you look, can you zoom on this? Can you zoom on this one here? This is exactly what you will get. You all know this, and this is what you will be doing. Exactly the same process. You create this levitation, as is the moon, between the Earth and the car. And as you see with the UFO. And this is the beauty of the knowledge. We move from matter state flotation into magnetic gravitational positioning of the car in respect to the Earth. This is what all of you have to live with in the coming days and months. And once we show it, it'll be shown in exhibition in Linz. And as I said to the people who own this place, I said, we show the car and then we take it and put it on the balcony for the night. And then we bring it down the next day. Automotive industry will change beyond recognition in the next 12 months. This will create new jobs, new understanding, new technologies, new inroads into other achievements for humanity. I wonder how much would worth the place of the fuel stations in city centers and around the world when nobody needs them anymore. There's no fuel to tank. And most of the fuel stations are in the prime positions, most of the places. They make a beautiful supermarket, some of them. as a man who used to be involved in the oil industry, it's in a way sad to see, but it's beautiful to understand the change brings many things. Any other question?
I'd like to read something from the Q&A here from Paula, and it's quite appropriate, I think. She says, greetings and salutations, Mr. Keshe. Speaking to the universal acquisition of knowledge through GAN's exposure, I must share the marvel I have as I watch my Down syndrome daughter ever expanding her horizon, and this week has started teaching herself Spanish to my amazement. The noticeable difference in her being from exposure to Ganses and how she uses them when she feels she needs them has been intuitive and appropriate for pain, protection, and learning. Thank you, and bless. So I wanted to put that in as you're mentioning the different applications of the technologies and so on. So
this is what we see when the souls are elevated. The physicality follows. When you get to the people at this level, it's not that we see them just change. We see them that we elevate their souls with what we make available to them, and the souls bring the change. Man has to understand the truth and what sits behind it. It's not a medicine. It's conditions like this. It comes through an interaction of the soul of man. And now, when you allow them, the soul needs and physicality provides. And this is the truth. This is what you have to learn. The Ganses create an environment that the soul elevates. And with elevation of the soul needs a new condition for the physicality. We've seen that with the number of the children in a test trial in the orphanage. And more or less all elevate the same level. And they all decide not to. Most probably in the next 6 weeks, we have none of them ever wearing Pampers. As gradually the elevation comes in the condition of the physicality and delivery of it. And it's beautiful to see. I know how parents think when they see these things. I've been witness to many autistic people changing their lives with the Ganses and technology. One of the people who helped us a lot with the hardware, with his sister having an autistic child, when I told them when they came to me in February, and I told them have the child ready to go to a proper school by September. They could not believe it. A 10-year-old boy could do such a thing as being autistic in the handicap school in a wheelchair. Now, 12 months later, he's actually got accepted to go to a proper schooling, like the handicap side, and then going swimming himself every day, walking a kilometer or two to go for swimming and come back home. And I said to the parents, I promised, I kept to my promise. They got the child back, they got the child who's responsible for itself. And this is part of what we say this technology works through the soul of the man. And the physicality follows. When you see I get somebody moved in China from the chair, is I elevate the soul. Physicality has no option. It was my wish for him to walk, and he walked. The Chinese always want me back there because when you come, they change. Because I elevate their soul and they look to see what the machine does in physicality. That's why in these machines, the two systems here, we have embedded part of my vision soul and the head of the Keshe Foundation are the same. We reach the soul. You look at the physicality of the motors. So it means a lot not understood. It's beautiful to see. When you change the life of a child, you change the life of a family. You change a life of pain and suffering to joy and happiness. This child has got another 50, 60, 80 years to live. You give him or her the gift of life. And that's the responsibility of every one of us to create that condition. Any other question?
Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
This voice we know, this is Wang Lin from Tibet.
Yes, we are heading to a snow mountain.
Have you shaved your head yet?
Not yet, we don't need.
Would you like to explain to us where you are? You're with a bunch of knowledge seekers from China.
Oh yes, actually, bunch of knowledge seekers. And I want to tell you, your recipe for the high attitude reaction is very well.
Is it?
Yes, one of our knowledge seekers, she starting to like kind of breathing, her lips change to like black or what do you say?
Pink.
Purple.
Purple, yeah.
Yeah, and she cannot climb, and after that, because we don't take that with us, and in the night I ask her to breathing and drink, and now we are in about 5,000 meter height here. We are heading to a snow mountain, and there that is also energy point. You know, we do a lot of crazy things.
Your Keshe Foundation followers, yeah.
Yeah, and we got our gold lotus. So now we understand what those teaching in the Buddhism about the lotus. Actually, it's a spaceship, the soul spaceship, and we know we got that. So it's amazing. A lot of things happened. I just cannot explain you in one word. But I just want to let you know how exciting we are, and thank you so much for the beautiful teaching today, because we are built the communication between the earth to the universe, different dimension. So I believe all your wishes will come, all your technology will be manifested soon.
When are you shaving your head? When you become a monk? Or that's not in the plan?
That's nothing planned in this life. That's past lives. I think I have enough experience with that. So this time I want to become like a star warrior, okay?
Enjoy yourself. You got to realize, as you, Wang Lin is one of the two heads of the Keshe Foundation worldwide. It's a national holiday this week. It's an autumn national holiday in China for 7 days. And the Chinese travel everywhere in this holiday to be and to see. And it was a pleasure to be there a couple of years ago during these national holidays, and you feel it when you're there. And in that process, everybody moves back to family or go to see places, and Wang Lin and the knowledge seekers have decided to go to Tibet to become monks or to learn more about it. Thank you very much. We got to learn each other's lecture culture and understand it. And Chinese have a beautiful culture. It's just for the West, it's hard to understand. And hopefully will become assets and the beauty to our race as a human race when we mix all the colors and the races together. Thank you very much, Wang Lin. Enjoy your holiday, or you're becoming a Buddhist, or you're a Buddhist teacher anyway, and becoming a monk.
Thank you. So this time I became a monk from universe and teach cash technology.
Give my regard to the rest of the knowledge seekers with you. They have a young boy with them. They have a beautiful young boy with them in this trip. Thank you very much, Wang Lin. Wish you a safe journey. Bye. Bye. Any other question?
Well, we have Beatrice with a hand up here, and who also had a couple of questions in the Q&A, so if she could go ahead and ask personally, that would be best. And then after that, we have somebody with a name who starts with A, who you know, and we'll let him speak. Go ahead, Beatrice. You'll have to open your microphone to unmute your microphone. Hello?
¿Alguna otra pregunta? Tenemos acá a Beatriz con algunas preguntas, así que...
Spanish. John, are you in the background? You could translate. Do we have any from the Spanish-speaking community who could translate for us?
If so, just put your hand up if you're an attendee, and we can let you speak. Dan, can you do Spanish? I think maybe he does Romanian. Can you do Spanish, Dan?
I can try. Good morning.
Okay, close enough. Beatrice, can you go ahead, Beatrice? What is it you, or whoever it is at that end? Can you go ahead and say what you'd like to say?
Beatriz, ¿puedes comprobar de las preguntas? Puedes preguntar.
¿Me escucha?
Sí.
Es que en el grupo de español está cerrado mi micrófono.
It's because in the Spanish group I have the microphone mute. Beatriz, diga la pregunta.
Puse dos en el chat para mi set. La pregunta era qué tipo de mente es la que va a poder despegar las naves. Lo puse en el chat.
She have the question put in the chat, and she say what is the difference between the mind for making the ship?
Yes.
Yeah, the question in the chat that she had is, I have a question. What kind of mind is going to be able to operate those ships?
Human mind. Anybody can.
Todos puedo crear.
You have to have the ethos, understanding within inner existence of peace. That's one of the prime conditions. Any fields. You cannot use this technology for harming.
Can you translate that, Dan, please?
Yes, I think it's in the Spanish group is making the translation in the Insegnamenti, but yes, I try. Mr. Keshe, sorry, señor Keshe ha dicho que para tener un ethos correcto, justo, no es para crear la guerra, ¿no? Para ser correcto. Un ethos correcto, justo. Toda la mente lo puedo crear.
Ok. Y otra pregunta o duda que tenía es ¿en qué forma van a salir las están dentro de las máquinas para ir a otro lugar? Perder masa, ser como un campo de torsión, perder masa.
Non lo so, che non lo so.
What is needed to making the man in the enhancement unit for travel? It's needed to lose the mass.
Physical thing. Because I've got more in common with you.
What is needed for making the man in the enhancement unit? It's needed to lose the mass, like weight.
Necessarily the same. No, definitely not. It's the same DNA.
Okay.
Ok, allora vediamo se riusciamo a sappiamo tutto quello che ci serve. Quindi abbiamo sicuramente magari possiamo fare i bambini. I bambini bianchi.
Las máquinas van a perder
mettiamo l'acqua salata qua dentro. So I'm just thinking what we can do.
I thought you were still on the phone.
No.
Sorry.
I was thinking we can do the cup, the tin cup we can do.
The machine.
And then another time do do only one cup, cup number one. So when you're ready,
if we're going to film,
yeah,
we're going to make sure we're all in the right mood. Otherwise,
Gravitational
okay, we're all
I'm
happy.
not sensing this right time.
No.
In the universe.
Okay,
If that
anyway,
time
we got
arrives,
anyway.
the cameraman will start recording. It's more wasted time.
Anyway, I don't think we got all material anyway. Yeah.
So what more do you need?
So we got the babies now there. So we're gonna collect the babies and put them here.
Put them both in together.
Both babies together here.
Ah,
yeah.
So you take it all out?
All out.
What the sort of sugary stuff at the bottom?
Yeah, the bottom we put in here, and we add in water. New water because it's salt water. And then we have another jar, this one, where we take the fatty things on the top. I don't know if you see there is separate jar here, and the baby's here. That's it. And this one here, but we can do only with cup number one. And then you add water, you let him settle down.
So you let it go down.
They're gonna go back in the bottom.
Mr. Keshe,
you put salt and water back to the car.
You spoke about the car.
Another salt and water. And the process starts again. You should have new babies coming up.
Fuel the car. So
you're going to endless production of babies.
Oh, I see. So this is all dry in here.
Yeah, here we put the babies that you collect.
Yes.
And we let them come down.
Of their own accord.
Yeah. When they're down, you take the salt water, because you remember we put salt in the water, and you put in another container, like this one, with salt water. The salt water that is here, you can use it for, if you got broth, you can, or if you want to disinfect something, you can.
Oh, like it's sterilized.
Yeah, you just to disinfect, to sterilize.
And is this what you spray when you go around?
I spray when I go around, I spray the water without the salt. So I put the salt water in here, and then I add more water. So now the babies are less salted.
If you can.
Then I let him settle, take off again the water, but it's a little bit salty. Use again to clean the bath or keep it for emergency.
We have the
and let it settle again, put another water. This is called washing. So you wash the salt out
anything.
of
Could
the
you
water.
literally the chair
You do it 3 times. You add in water, let it settle. Take off the salted water, add more water, let it settle. Take off less salted water, added water, let it settle. Take off even less water until you don't salt it anymore.
Right.
Then once there's not salted, the salted water is gone.
We have to start again.
No, you just collect the water that it's not salted, and that one that it's not salted, you put in the spray, and you can drink it. You can give the plants. You can, wash the dishes.
So this is the one you
spray. No
with.
salted water.
Yeah.
So if I do this is not salted.
What it can create and what it can take within it.
But to not be salted, I had to do the process called washing.
How much you can
Take
expand
off the
it.
salt.
You must not have the salt.
The
Has
salt,
that got the salt?
no, the salt is not bad, but if you take too much salt, it can irritate the skin.
But that's what sent me into hospital. I had no sodium whatsoever.
So you should have a little bit of salt.
No, but that was because my doctor had given me wrong medication. And when I'd gone and said, do I have to get yes, give it to go, I said yes again. And I was on it for so long and I passed out.
This is what I call
I have no memory.
Yeah, I think you had a little, maybe it could be.
I was told I had no sodium.
No sodium, yeah.
Yeah.
The sodium, I think, goes with the also. Sodium is very important. I'm not.
Well, I suppose they would take a blood test. Yeah. I had no sodium.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
I know the sodium is very important for the health. So I'm not good. That's where I'm lack of my knowledge is. Lacking. But I think if Jeff is not ready, I would maybe teach you that. On the hand massage.
I don't think so.
Putting down and massage your hand.
Oh, my hand, yes.
Yeah, I think we should.
Well, it's starting to have the symptoms again. But I will come off this medication when I feel I can.
The reactor group and Rick and the group.
But with the confusion and me living on my own, I feel I've got to keep my mind alert. And this is what it does.
It soon changed to the soul teachings, and it's sort of I don't know, it's just the way it evolved. It's the way the process worked for me.
So you train your spy as well, Greg. You got hold of me, now you got hold of him. Who's next?
The technology mean that. Oh.
Any other question?
We did have Armin with his hand up for a while there.
He gave up?
No, I think he's
still there. His hand is up, but he's fallen asleep.
Nah, I don't think so.
He's awake. He's awake. Good morning, Armanja.
Good morning, Mehran. How are you?
Still alive. Which is a good sign up to now.
I have one question.
Yep.
You know that Azerbaijan started a war in Armenia.
Yeah.
And thousands of dying every day.
Yep.
How we can help?
Pray for the soul of the leaders. The thing is, there is no, according to the statistics and security report, not many people have died. This is a lot of banging.
No, you know, I took Armenia.
There is exaggeration in numbers. Yeah, the exaggeration in numbers creates fear. And
it's
pray
reality.
for the, pray for the soul of the two leaders. We're going to see the same thing if Ukraine pushes further. But there is no backing for this. It's just a local mishmash of piece of land. Has not got any support. Hello.
Actually, Turkish people, they provoked it.
This hasn't got an international, it has no international backing. It's just a couple of leaders locally bashing each other for a piece of land, which was left territorially independent in what they call no man's land between the two nations. This is not a war. This is a what they call a mishmash for a few days and so on. Nobody is there to do anything with it. Nobody is prepared to do anything with it. It's just one leader trying to assert his position. This is what we say leaders have not to be there. This is not a war. This is just a local skirmish by one leader who is trying to find position. There is a back to this because in general, the state of Israel has pushed in support of for that because part of this section in essence carries a number of ex-USSR military bases, Air Force bases, which is used by the Israeli Secret Service and Americans to create mayhem training in China, in Iran, and Middle East. There is more to this. This is not a war. This is something that needs to be cleared out because the Israelis wanted this area cleared that they can do their work without anybody knowing what's going on.
But they are providing with all the arms.
The arms have been there. The arms have been there for months. We have a security report over 3 years ago. We were expecting, this is not a war. This is just trying to, the Israelis are using the airports which left from the USSR time, training Chinese, Mongolians, some Turkish Iranians, to infiltrate Iran and China to create a lot of work. This area, that's why I tell you this is nothing, this is without even considered as a war. And they received the backing of the Turkey in exchange for the Syrian backing. I watched this movement where Keshe Foundation has got people on the ground. We know exactly what's going on. And this is not a war. This is part of the Israeli program, training area they want to clear because they train a lot of Chinese who go back to what we see in Hong Kong, what we've seen in China, what we see now in training Iranian Turks to start problems, not Iranian Turks, Turks speaking Farsi to start problem in Iran. This is part of that program. And it's been going on. It's well known by us. We have debriefed national securities of a number of nations on this. We were expecting this. This is just part of the work of the Israeli forces to have total control, and that's how they supported the Turkish to be able to destabilize, especially Kazakhstan at the moment. We are very well aware of this work. It's not considered in no shape or form war. It's hardware given to clean up that. It's the responsibility of Iran national security, Chinese, and what we call the Silk Road to see an end in the use of these air bases. Because it's the ground for training, speaking, not the nationals, and sending back into, especially, we see a lot of problem with the Chinese West border with Kazakhstan and China. I have debriefed Chinese national security thoroughly about this some time ago. Don't forget, Keshe Foundation has supporters at the highest level, and are same believers on the ethos of us as peace. So we collect we are given continuous data about these movements about peace because we keep an eye to understand, and we correctly share with the national security. Iranian national security is fully aware of this movement Turks are doing in this northern borders that are away from Iranian border, training Turkish language speaking, not the Iranian Turks. Iranian Turks stay solid behind the nation. They are part of the nation. These are the people exactly what they did in Libya. A few Italian-speaking people started a revolution, and now Israelis want to do the same in Iran. And they've been supported, financial support received by Saudi Arabia to do this. I speak, but we are fully debriefed on regular basis in this area because the Turks work right across Silk Road, all the way from Turkey right through to China, west coast of China, which has got a huge Muslim population. I warned the Chinese national security some time ago that this is happening now. When you see it, then you get excited because you're Armenian. But overall, this is a bigger plan by Israel and the British government to destabilize the Silk Road, which is becoming a power force. I have debriefed both nations heavily on this. Number of Central Asian countries have debriefed at the national security levels. We know what it is. This is not a war. Nobody considers a war. It's except Israelis want those two military air forces which are left abandoned, now is used heavily by the Israelis. They should be closed. And it is the job of Russia to say this to be closed. We don't understand why Putin doesn't interfere and shut these things down.
Actually, they took their forces, Russian forces, through Iran because Georgia didn't allow. So
yes. They should have done this a long time ago. You got to understand, Georgia carries a heavily large number of Jews. Georgia is extensively Jewish state. Most of the Jews in Tel Aviv are from Georgia. My great-grandparents left Georgia to Iran. So, in a way, Georgia is well protected by the state. They understand this situation. The politics of the Middle East and Central Asia has been something I've kept an eye on for years. I work in this area. What has happened, and this one of these bases are used heavily by Israeli intelligence to train people from the west border of China to create mayhem there. They are training terrorists to go that way. We are aware of it. We are fully aware of what's going on. And same Chinese. All data has been given to the Chinese authorities 2 years ago. And some of the people you see in Hong Kong are trained in these bases. Don't worry, it's a short term. You know how I work. Keep a lot of knowledge, but very silent. But don't worry about it. This is a skirmish which Turks are creating in favor of the Israeli forces. And, for all the Middle Eastern forces are keeping an eye on these places and people who travel. This is becoming a place to train terrorists by the Israelis to destabilize Silk Road. Silk Road has become one of the major routes of economy for China. And if it's disturbed, serves the benefits of the Western Europe and America. You got to understand, even the enhancement units you see on this road, we load at the factory, 14 days later delivered in our factory, everything done. Chinese have developed an amazing delivery system, and with it are bringing a lot of prosperity for the nations on the Silk Road. Now, if you want to ship these enhancement units from China to Europe, it takes 6-8 weeks, port to port and everything else. They pick it up from us at the factory. They deliver it to us at the factory. Everything, duty, taxes paid, 14 days. It's the economical route they're trying to disturb, to damage the economy and integrity of the state of China. Because it's something a lot of us have to understand, and living in China for such a long time, and I loved the country and the way the leadership looks after its people in so many ways, not always correct in all the ways. is that the Chinese developed their nations over 30 years. They had to develop such a big nation to such a state as we see with all these big high-rise factories and buildings and such a beautiful cities. They ran out of work. They ran out of building because they built whatever they could build. So what was the initiative by President Xi of China? His Excellency President Xi made it very clear, we are not shutting these building companies down and losing so much job. He created One Belt, One Road to create and invest what expertise they had in construction across the world. He built many ports. He built what we call Belt and Road, and many of these things. And with it, brought a lot of prosperity and freedom from control of other countries in the economy of China. So these industrial powerhouses of construction, they put, with the support of Chinese, into constructing the Silk Road. All aspects of it, ports across the world. We've seen it in Nairobi. The port of Nairobi was built. We've seen how they invested in what they call it, Paris of Africa. And wherever the Chinese went, they brought prosperity because they put what we call the massive industrial building structure behind it. With it, they brought economical disaster as well. But in so many ways, Chinese factories, manufacturing of the building, the construction companies became the construction of the world around the world with the backing of the Chinese Central Bank. And the whole purpose, mainly of One Belt, One Road, was to keep the construction companies of China in operation while they could find another solution. Because they built the China to its maximum. The only thing which is now left, they're building massive amount of high-speed train, 350 kilometers an hour, right across China. The rest of the country is built, all the ports are built. So now the Western nations, through the state of Israel, because they are the proxy for murder for most of the nations, have built this center in what we call in Azerbaijan. This center was built about 4 years ago. We kept an eye on it. We received reports, we received satellite reports. We watched it, and we have fully debriefed the national security of China about it, and they're keeping an eye. We know who's traveling, they're watching everything else. And the same with Iran. Don't forget, we learned from it when the British with 20 Italians started a coup d'etat in Libya, and they got rid of the Gaddafi. 20 Italians speaking Arabic, they caused the mayhem, and now they want to use the same thing in Iran, in Tajikistan, in Kazakhstan, to destabilize Silk Road. And west borders of China with Kazakhstan. I have offices, I've had offices in Kazakhstan since 1992. I'm well connected inside Kazakhstan work. We're keeping an eye on all this. My offices in Almaty goes to 1992, and we have a well-rooted connection within the structure. We watch everything. I told you I'm most unusual businessman, scientist, and everything else because I've been working across this planet, understanding the cultures, and when the time comes, we can deliver. I have a massive company on this borderlines. I invested the way I invested in Keshe Foundation. I've invested in Kazakhstan. I've invested in other parts of the Silk Road. These are all beautiful people. They have a deep culture. They all speak Farsi, to me, is part of my culture. I understand. I worked in Kazakhstan since 1991-92. I entered Kazakhstan with the support of British structure, London Group. And I built an empire there. Because another part of the world. I didn't go in, I went in to understand that in the future what can be done and how can be supported. And when we give you information, I give you how deep my connections are.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Armand. I wish you all the best. Any other question?
I believe Jalal has his hand up there, but
the spine number 2.
I will be with you in 1 minute, please. I have work background.
Let's see, we expose his hand, he's running away now, it's busy. Next question.
Okay, well, we have still a number of questions in the Q&A. Let me see. Well, let's just start at the top. Thomas says, can we expand on the links to Tehran to Arizona exhibition plans?
Well, Tehran is in the hand of the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers. They're negotiating with the universities and officials that these systems will be shown in Tehran. I have given my comment. Initially, we were supposed to do this in Tehran. These enhancement units were supposed to be completed, shipped to Iran. Then we saw a bunch of things which happened again by the back of spies of the Belgium in Iran trying to disturb and distract the work of the Keshe Foundation in Iran. We pulled it out. And now we go back to Iran, to the Sharif Tehran University, where this is where I did the original research and development to show the beauty of the technology. Our team in Iran are working on it, and hopefully, once it's completed, the units will be lifted to Tehran for 2 weeks, shown in Iran as a development and achievement of the Iranian scientists, and be brought back to Linz, the home of the technology. And then in Arizona, we don't need to take these because already 12 units is allocated to the position. We just show the power of it and the technology. Listen to the Keshe Foundation next week, and all your knowledge seekers consolidate with each other in different ways. We can make it available, one city, one system to be delivered. It's you who's got to facilitate. Keshe Foundation, Austria will facilitate the rest. So we made it as simple as it could be done. We have the facility to do so. Just listen next week, and it'll be announced by the head of Keshe Foundation. It's their responsibility as they control this part of the work, not mine. I just tell you how they see it and how they want it to be done. And as you said, they need it till next week to plan it out. Then you will hear it, and we will have a show in every city, as I said.
Good day, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, good day, Jalal.
How are you, Mr. Keshe?
Not too bad. Did you report everything? By the way, I still keep your €100 in my pocket. It's very precious.
Thank you very much. I wish for that you keep it.
Depends if you go for lunch today, we have to spend it.
I know, I really did want to invite you just now to lunch, but you are always ahead of me. Mr. Keshe,
did you enjoy the Chinese?
Yeah, it was beautiful. The company, Mr. Keshe, and it's beautiful. So today, who was asking 2 questions. This is remarkable if you see it. So I have 2 questions. You already answered one of my questions, and the second.
Oh, you have 1 question.
Yes, I have only 1. It's not for me. It's not me who asked this question. Yesterday, by the way, Dean, you problem makers, thank you very much to put me in this position as a spy, but it's worth. Yesterday in the RIC workshop, I think Dr. Stephen has asked a question about the selling of the goodies there in the exhibition, and especially the ganses. When we see the ganses, it's all all sort of gases. And the question was, due to their property, can anyone use them without knowledge, or he must have a little bit knowledge in purchasing?
For what?
The bottles of gases which we are selling in the expedition.
Yeah, what do you want to do with them?
No, he asked if is it everyone can buy it without knowledge?
Yes, yes, of course. But that's why we put it for sale. You can wash it and understand what you do with it.
So that was his question, in due to its property, and we see there is the deuterium and tritium and folic acid and all of the sort of these gases. So if you
can you repeat?
How much you pay?
You can have your €100 back.
Yesterday there was a question of that gases is appropriate to sell for everyone, and
the ones which we have in the center is made through the processes which made in our factory, and is put as it is. Some of them you never seen before. Some of them are unusual to have. About 6 or 7 we decided is good to be in public and to be there, to be done. And people are buying it according to what they want. Some of it even, I know people buying it because of the gorgeous color of it. But if you understand why you're buying it for, what purpose is there to serve that purpose. The range of them is from I'll walk into them that you can decide it. We have deuterium, we have copper of life 1, we got folic acid, we got cobalt, we got omega-3, we got selenium, we got magnesium, calcium, CO, ZNO, CH3, and CO2. And strange enough, the folic acid is depleting very rapidly because it's feeding the others by its nature.
Yeah, and that was his question about the folic acid.
Yeah.
It's okay if someone purchases.
Yes, but you understand, whatever we put here is manufactured by the way we do it, and is as it is.
Okay, thank you. Back to
it's
my
a colorful tray. Yeah.
Back to my question. You said 2 similar plasmas or near enough similar plasmas can interact.
Yeah.
So whatever we have in our environment, it's come from the same plasma?
Plasma of the sun, yes.
Okay. Is there, can we see a different culture of plasma interact with each other?
What do you mean?
Or can another plasma which have different creation interact with another plasma? Or it must be similar or near similar?
If they have a similar strength fields, they always interact.
Okay. And
you have to have if you have a small window of time that they can interact, that they can understand or make a connection, then they do. You can change the dimensions of it. This is what scientifically we explained. You fall in love maximum.
Parlo qui, vero?
Because in those 5 years, it takes us, as we said, the oldest part of the body of the man is 9 years old because it gets renewed. The emotion part of the man within the structure of the cell of the physicality stays about 5 years. And then if you don't renew it, if you don't extend it, if you don't confirm to it, it vanishes. That's why a lot of people fall out of love, because it's the way it is. Even emotion has a time lapse because it's a field dependent. And then it has a peak of interaction, and then it's the peak of balance, and then the diminution is still there. It's the same even with pain.
Ok, ora ci sono.
So when we have the amino acid, for example, it's all dependent on the strength from the same plasma.
Same strength could be different plasmas.
So is the amino acid different plasmas?
Yes, different carbons, different strength, nitrogen, different strength.
Io ho un delay sulle due video, non so perché.
E se è normale, vai dove puoi.
Ok,
Iniziate
ok.
poi. Un bacione, grazie.
Sta parlando di un'esibizione dove mostreranno la macchina volante e sta parlando praticamente di quanta gente ci sarà e di come organizzerà questo evento. E praticamente le persone che ospitano questa manifestazione, questa dimostrazione, stanno comprendendo la validità della tecnologia e poi stanno diventando sempre più collaborative. E diciamo che la verità della tecnologia sta, tramite i fatti, sta oscurando il lavoro che molte persone attraverso l'uso della paura sta facendo per oscurare questa cosa che è la tecnologia del plasma. E comunque dice che l'ambiente austriaco e la popolazione tedesca ha una certa efficienza nel servire le esigenze della fondazione in questo momento. Ci sono una serie di domande sulla macchina volante. Chiedono, per esempio, Randy chiede e sta chiedendo come la macchina può produrre calore o freddo per i passeggeri. E lui dice, ha risposto scherzosamente con un asciugacapelli. Stanno chiedendo come produrre diverse temperature con il plasma. dice che stanno producendo un dispositivo grande che va mescolato con le vernici, e hanno già una compagnia che si preoccuperà per la distribuzione di questo prodotto. Prendi questa cosa, l'aggiungi alla tua vernice, è un materiale che è stato prodotto dai laboratori, aggiungi alla vernice e questo darà molte possibilità dentro le case, cambierà il modo di scaldarle o raffreddarle. E diciamo che la commercializzazione di questa cosa qui è agli inizi, ma presto arriverà. Ci sono altre domande, altre 2 domande. Sta chiedendo se il sistema per muovere le macchine senza motore può essere adattato anche a un trattore, e lui risponde che probabilmente dipende da quanta cosa ci deve attaccare il trattore. Lui dice che sostanzialmente la tecnologia sta arrivando e quindi abbiamo aperto la strada con le enhancement unit e presto arriveranno tutte le altre innovazioni riguardanti lo spazio, il movimento con le macchine, i computer, cioè nei prossimi 5 anni, 5-10 anni verranno snocciolate una serie di tecnologie che sostituiranno le vecchie. Ora dice fa notare che praticamente con l'introduzione di queste nuove tecnologie molte cose, molte infrastrutture non saranno più necessarie, come per dire i ponti, visto che diciamo che il sistema è un sistema magnetico-gravitazionale che consente al mezzo di lievitare sul livello della crosta terrestre. Quindi per dire, sta dicendo avremo più bisogno delle raffinerie di petrolio. Con questa nuova tecnologia no. Avremo bisogno di aeroporti? No. E tutta la produzione degli aerei, gli aerei di linea, non sarà più necessaria. Arriveranno tantissimi cambiamenti. E hanno deciso di buttare fuori una quantità industriale di tipi di tecnologie sempre plasmatiche che cambieranno l'assetto mondiale nel giro di poco tempo. E abbiamo tutto pronto per essere messo fuori diciamo, per i civili e non, e quindi è tutto in posizione, non c'è nulla che manca per questo nuovo salto. e sta dicendo che in questo processo la Fondazione KF Foundation Austria sarà praticamente la colonna portante di quello che accade nel mondo con la fondazione. E lui dice che hanno cercato di fare questa operazione che ora sta avvenendo in Austria, in Italia, a Barletta, ma praticamente a causa di 3 traditori abbiamo abbandonato il progetto in Italia e quindi ora il progetto parte in Svizzera. E in questo momento diciamo che il governo, la Svizzera sta dando una solidità, un appoggio reale e quindi rimarrà lì come già deciso. E loro diciamo che sono in grado di sopperire per questo momento metà del bisogno mondiale di produzione, cioè diciamo possono produrre in questo momento coprire metà del fabbisogno del pianeta, ora. Sta dicendo anche che i brevetti e queste cose qua non ci sono, diciamo che è un bene dell'umanità, tutto ciò che viene fatto e viene creato. La fondazione dice che è un nome e praticamente ha una sorta di aiuto umanitario, non so come chiamarlo, in Olanda, cioè, praticamente allora dice che ci sono diverse domande. Allora dice che vuol fare un riassunto di quello che oggi è stato detto. Dice che arriveranno nuovi tipi di computer, vedremo nuove macchine volanti. Entro gennaio saranno dimostrate, saranno rese pubbliche. e dice che questo entro il 25 dicembre si sbloccheranno una serie di cose che hanno causato il blocco della tecnologia per mano del governo olandese. E dice che a causa del governo del Belgio e di questi criminali la tecnologia è stata rallentata di circa 9 anni. E ora che la tecnologia è libera, è stata liberata da questi limiti, vedremo anche dei cambiamenti nell'industria petrolifera, del petrolio, e tutto ciò che riguarda le comunicazioni, i computer e tutto ciò che adesso, diciamo, è stato centralizzato dalla tecnologia passata elettronica, verrà gradualmente sostituita dalla tecnologia al plasma. E dice che ci saranno, ogni città verrà fornita di questi sistemi e chi non ha le possibilità economiche per curarsi e affrontare determinati aspetti della malattia verranno in maniera libera, gratuita, aiutati dalla fondazione attraverso queste macchine. Ultima domanda da Antonio. E questa persona dice che ha visto nella sua visione l'America smettere l'industria delle armi e non usare più le armi. E con questo chiudiamo questo teaching. Questo era il 348esimo Knowledge Seeker Workshop. Il prossimo sarà il 6 di ottobre. Ok. Stefi, sei lì?
Sì, ci sono.